We're just talking. Q&A with Andre.
Today's Q&A. I have a student who has been a model student since the start of the school year. Always on task in class, completes all assignments, and is pleasant and lovely to be around. This past Friday, she got a 504 for PTSD. It's her first ever 504. This morning, I got an email from her saying that she wasn't able to complete an assignment because it was stressful, and my 504 says I get more time. I obviously said yes, no issue. I struggle with PTSD myself, so I know how debilitating it can be. Then she came into class today and proceeded to talk the entire class period, not do a single ounce of work, and this was not like her. I pulled her to a side and asked what was up, and she said, my 504 says I don't have to do anything. Help, what do I do? To my new friends out there, a 504 is different from an IEP. An IEP, Individual Education Plan, is a plan that helps with instruction for students who have disabilities. A 504 plan does not do the instruction part. It creates support for students with those disabilities. The differences when it comes to law, the IDEA Act is IEP's, IDEA Individuals for Disabilities of Education Act, and then the 504 comes from the Rehabilitation Act. Two different things to hit two different parts. Here's the tricky part. When you're talking about a 504, it does help with the accommodations of the learning. So a student may need to do the work outside. That is accommodating the student. The student may need to do the work in a different person's class, in a different environment. The student may need to take more breaks to do the work because it is focusing not on the instruction in the learning, but focusing on the work of the learning, the settings of the learning. So for this teacher to say, help, what do I do? Because this kid is taking advantage of this 504, saying they don't have to do the work and they're trying to kind of work the system. Well, it is really simple. You got to talk to the 504 coordinator. Talk to them and say, what were the things that they discussed in the meeting when setting up the 504? Now, some 504s, you don't necessarily have to have paperwork. Most educational systems make sure the 504 is in some type of paperwork form and it is filed inside of the cumulative folder. So you talk to the coordinator, the 504 coordinator, talk to the parent, go look at that paperwork and see what were the special accommodations and modifications for that learning. In this instance, it may be a counselor. In this instance, it may be the vice principal. A lot of times it is that special ed teacher, and that's why sometimes those two get blended together. Once again, go back, take a look at it, because this is not a get out of jail free card. This is not a you get to do what you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it type of thing. I don't feel like work, I'm not going to do it. No, go back and look at that card, go back and look at that information, and then see what modifications work best for that learning work. Then work. Lastly, here's the cool thing. You already have the data. You've been observing her for the last 4 or 5 weeks. You've already seen what ticks and what doesn't tick in her life. You already know the expectations of the work that she can and cannot do. You've already seen the data. You've already observed it. And so now continue to keep more data. Continue to write down the days that she's working and the things that she's doing. Because yeah, she may indeed have PTSD and something may have triggered that. And we want to honor that. At the same time, you got to make sure that she's still learning. So once again, go back to that 504, make it happen.